Happy New Year to everybody. My name is Consuelo Lara,
I'm Madeline Cronenberg.
and we are coming to you from the land of...
You're gonna put it on me. All right. Chochenyo, Carten, Olone.
Yes,
Yes.
the sacred land. We want to always acknowledge that. Today is January the 4th, 2020, so it's a new year now. We have a lot of issues we want to talk to you about, and we're going to start with the national scene as usual and bring you some different news that we discover nationally. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us again on Between Two Teachers. What I wanted to talk about right now is that what's come up actually in the federal nominating process for the Democratic candidate for president. One of the candidates is a former superintendent of public instruction, a former school district superintendent, and Mr. Bennett, Michael Bennett. So Michael Bennett brings issues of children to the forefront. And personally, I have a number of things that Mr. Bennett and I don't agree on. In particular, Mr. Bennett was responsible in large part for bringing a portfolio district and a great many charter schools to the city of Denver, which is where he was superintendent. But Mr. Bennett is also the co-signer of something called the American Family Act. And that's what I wanted to bring to everybody's attention. Because the American Family Act is he and Senator Brown, Sherrod Brown of Ohio, are looking at a plan to cut child poverty. And I think it is a huge issue. I hope that whoever the ultimate candidate is uses it as a central part of their platform, because it is a great idea. And it's something that is doable. America could do it. It would show our values. It would show that we do support families with young children. And what it essentially would do would expand the child tax credit, which currently is up to $2,000 a year for families with young children. So it would pay $3,000 a year, or $250 a month per child for children 6 to 16, and $3,600 a year, or $300 per month for children 0 to 5. Now, for families who have a great deal of wealth, this is not an important thing. For children in poverty, it would reduce the poverty dramatically. And there are numbers in here. I'll put the link to this in our YouTube channel so people can read the full the text. And also you can search, certainly Mr. Bennett has it on his platform, and other people are all signing on. But I do mention him because I was listening to him and he brought it to my attention, so I give him credit for that. It's a very big change. It would make a really big difference nationally. So I hope it becomes part of the conversation in California, that our national teacher groups and our statewide teacher and parent groups all get behind the American Family Act to help reduce childhood poverty.
And it's very important for our district, especially because we are 72% free and reduced lunch.
Right.
Which means these are 72% of families live in poverty. And this is something that could be useful to our families in this district. So it's very important that we get the word out to people to understand it, support it, and give more publicity to it. Yeah, so thank you.
Yeah, it's a really important thing. So for this year, last year we were talking about different bills, 1505, the charter school bills, and which we may well have new versions of different bills regarding charter schools in California. But this has a much broader impact because it's national, and it would make such a huge difference. Actually, it's the same number no matter what state you're in. So if you're in states with really deep poverty and lower income levels, that amount of money is it's a huge game changer for families that are in the deepest poverty.
Yeah.
So I hope we do it. Another one that I've looked at, so that's the national level, and we haven't heard from Betsy DeVos on this or the Trump administration, so I'm just going to say I haven't seen anything from them on this. But another thing that's happened statewide is there's a group that came to my attention called Canines in the Classroom, and I'll link to this too. And what this does, this is done in Sonoma County, the Sonoma Unified School District. They have a program to bring animals and dogs, canines, into their classrooms. And they can be used for many different things. They can be used as therapy dogs for children that need that after some various kinds of tragedies that they may have. But the dogs aren't just for that kind of an occasion. They're not just for trauma. They're there, and they have a program where children read to dogs. And the children who read to dogs have shown to have an increased ability in their literacy. So they have a weekly program where somebody brings their animal in, and they're reading to this dog in the back of the room. What a great idea!
That's great.
Right? There's no judgment. Great. That's the big thing. You can read to this dog, and
yeah.
You know,
yeah.
The dog makes you will sit with you as you work your way through whatever it is you're reading.
Oh my gosh, that does sound wonderful.
Right?
And
I think it's something that everybody, I mean, certainly West Contra Costa, but any district could look at that. Right? And certainly people will have barriers, but these are dogs that are trained, and people who come in and share the animal that they love.
Yeah, yeah. What a great idea. I think
so. I will put the link into
wonderful.
that as well. I think it's certainly worth people taking a look at.
Bringing you new ideas in education.
Yay!
Ever looking forward.
Yes.
Progressively. Okay. And so that's the national.
That's the national. Now we get to West Contra Costa.
Well,
our favorite letter, Measure
nothing
R.
happening in Sacramento that we.
Yeah, Sacramento's been quiet, so we're going to wait. And that's our statewide is the canines in class.
Yeah. So at the school board level, district level, we have Measure R is something that will be on the ballot in March.
Yep.
And
very soon.
Yes, and this is a facilities measure because, as you know, buildings get run down and you have to repair them or restore them or replace them sometimes. So we have a lot of schools still in our master plan that have not gotten attention or finished, and we want to be able to do that. We want to be able to say to parents of those schools, we're going to try, we're going to put this on the ballot, we're going to leave it up to the voters, and we're going to support this measure. And we're hoping to get a lot of support from our community, from our cities, and many people around who can support this and show that they think it's important to invest in our children and their future. And that's what this is all about. Do we invest in our children and their future? That's really important for us to know that we need to do that. So, you know, I know that one of the things that people complain a lot about is that the taxes are so high already. But upon looking more, looking at other states, apparently California, compared to other states, has pretty low taxes. So it's not like it's super exorbitant amount of taxes. But
it's all what your perspective is. When we look at the numbers that say for education funding, California is in the 40s, and you hear different numbers. It's 42nd, it's 45th. It's always in the 40s, and that just means that the calculation was made with various different sets of data sets that they're comparing it to. But we're never out of the 40s, and we used to be at the top. And the reason we used to be at the top was because we had a funding structure, a taxing structure, which gave community investments to children. And we were paying more. That's why Prop 13 came in, because our our taxes at that point. At that point, they hadn't figured out a way that folks who were on lower income would be able to have a more reasonable tax for them. Prop 13 came in, created its own set of challenges for folks, but what it really did was dramatically reduce the funds ultimately available for children and for education. And this opportunity with Measure R is for people to continue to invest. And to say that you want to have the lowest taxes is another way of saying, I don't want to invest in my community. I just want to be the ones who invest the least. The folks that have gotten the most bang for their buck are the states that pay the most for education. New Jersey, Massachusetts, New York, they offer more because they invest more. They tax themselves more. And that's not an evil, bad thing. That's why their children are able, our children who are taxed at a much lower level, except in communities that decide to go way beyond what the taxing level is throughout the state. For example, Berkeley is about to have a tax, yet again, added to its list of taxes. Berkeley taxes more than West Contra Costa taxes. Just to take a look at it, and if you want to see a bill, I'm going to post mine because I have no problem. The taxes are a public thing. And you look at what your taxes are, you look at what they're paying in Berkeley, they're paying more, and they're being asked to pay more in March. They're organizing, and they're going to be out there doing it. We should not be dismissive of that. This is only going to make them more competitive with us because they can offer more. Their schools, they have a tax in Berkeley to maintain their new schools, just for maintenance of buildings. We don't have that.
Mm-mm.
So our maintenance of buildings comes from our general fund.
Right, right.
So those are very, when you don't have a line item and a source of funding for something, and you have to take it out of now, and you're looking at a crisis in funding, what are you going to do? You're going to clean buildings less often? Well, they don't have to worry about that in Berkeley.
Yeah, because they care about maintaining those. And that reflects on how much you care about your students, and it affects students' self-esteem when they go to a nice, clean, well-kept and well-maintained school. It
Right.
really does affect self-esteem.
Right.
This discussion reminds me, I started teaching in 70, I know it was before the Jarvis Act.
And that was 79.
79, so I must have started 77 or 76. But I remember starting as a teacher and feeling so proud because we were number one. We were number one in the nation. We were the best school districts in the whole nation, our state. And coincidentally, we were the highest academically.
Right.
It was always between us and Texas. We kind of were like neck and neck all the time, especially with our students in bilingual education or in all kinds of ways. We were always right up there. So, is there a link between being high in funding and the best schools and then the highest academically and the per student funding? Those were the two things that we had. A lot of money for education, and we had good academic results. And so over the years, it's just been chipped away and chipped away and chipped away. The funding per student has gone down. So what do you think is going to happen to the academics? That also is going to go down. So those people that say, well, they're mismanaging money. What money? There is no money. And it's just short-sighted, and they don't know the history really of education and education funding. So exactly what you said, that you're not going to get results when you don't have the resources that you need.
Yeah.
So, it's just simple.
You're not going to get the results. And what happens is, who are you punishing? You're not punishing the families who are affluent, because they are the ones who pay to tax themselves. Berkeley is an affluent community. Palo Alto is an affluent community. Piedmont is an affluent community. They don't have problems passing taxes. Not taxes that are for them. If those taxes are going to stay home, they are all for them. And that's why those districts are able to offer more for their children. Now, we can make adjustments, and we certainly have done that with the local control funding formula, where you add a different, additional funding in to support children who are low income, and that's the purpose, is to try to equalize it with these other districts. But the fact is, they can just keep raising the bar, and there's no problem with it. They have a right to do that as a community, and just that's where they are willing to invest in their children. And that's how we need to look at this. I mean, what we wind up with is groups of people who have a knee-jerk reaction to any new tax, any new opportunity. They're gonna characterize this as a boondoggle by the politicians, when really what it is community members who are elected to serve, who want to give you, everyone in the community, an opportunity to invest more in their children. That's what it is.
That's what it is. And so Measure R is for that purpose, to upgrade and repair and restore our facilities.
And to address hot schools.
Oh, that's right, especially that. To bring air conditioning. With climate change, and there are a lot of schools where it gets so hot, there are teachers who have gotten
who've been
sick,
hospitalized.
Gone to the hospital, and children who, we have students with breathing problems, and so we need to make sure that there's air conditioning in a lot of our schools. That's also a big one.
It's a huge issue, and it's not an issue because they say, well, why didn't you do this earlier? Because of climate change. These schools didn't have the same issues that in the past that they have today, and that's because we have so many days that are hot days. I mean, on the facilities subcommittee, we over the years wound up at a point where we had hot schools as an actual issue on the agenda, and hot schools has been an agenda topic at solutions with the our labor management teams.
Yeah.
Right, and that was not true until we've had the dramatic changes in the climate. So our community members are being asked to help address the problem, and that's really what Measure R is. So if you live in West Contra Costa, you will see it on your March 3rd ballot, right below the presidential choices you get to make. And hopefully you're not a no-party preference voter, because even if you are a no-party preference voter, you're not going to get a presidential ballot because you haven't preferred a party. So that's the first thing. If you didn't know that, you better look
go register.
Go register, or just recognize that you're not going to. You're asking. You don't get to play in choosing a party candidate if you haven't picked a party.
Yeah.
But you certainly get to vote for Measure R.
Yes. Absolutely.
Right. So whether or not you vote in the presidential election or don't vote in the presidential election, you still get to vote for Measure R if you're a voter in West Contra Costa. So please support Measure R. Our kids and our everyone in our community needs your help.
Yes, absolutely. Please do. Thank you. Okay, what else is going on in our district? Well, of course, we still have our budget situation, and we'll hear more about that in the coming board meetings and more updates. We're okay for this year. As you know, we've had money put away so that we're not having to give out pink slips in the middle of the year like other districts may have had to. But we will. It's going to be a difficult situation and difficult choices to have to make around the budget. So stay tuned, and we'll keep you informed as we find out what's going on as well. And if you have questions, they can post questions, can't they, on our YouTube channel? So
yeah, they can ask us questions. If you have questions, we certainly will find out the answer.
Yeah, we'll look those up.
And on Facebook.
Thank you. Right, that's a good place to ask questions also. So, think of anything else?
I think that's it for today. As we move into 2020, this big year.
And we have a few shout outs. I have a shout out for Mr. Todd Groves, whose camera.
Yes, a major part of this operation.
And just saying hello, Mr. Groves, out to you. Shout out to you.
I thought.
And also, you can look forward to seeing us do some interviews also with key individuals that we think it's important for us to know more about and to bring you more information about as we bring you this updates on education today. Let's see, what else?
We need you to like, share, and subscribe. And ring the little bell if you're subscribing on YouTube, so that you will then know whenever we post a new episode. And we can end with our. Are we ready to end?
Yes.
End with our joke from our Google friends.
Google overlords.
Yeah. So the joke is, what did the teacher do with the cheese from the homework assignment?
What did the teacher do with the cheese on the homework assignment?
She graded it.
Oh.
And that's for us. That it is goodbye, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.